What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shooky from Shook Earth Media, and today we are looking at The Walking Dead World Beyond Season 2, Episode 8. And if you guys saw my review last week, I really enjoyed last week's episode after being critical of most of the season. I really enjoyed the tension, and the plot started really moving. There was some good dialogue and some really great conflict that I really enjoyed seeing. This episode, it's a bit more of a mixed bag, I will say, right off the bat, but the ending it's good enough, it's interesting enough, it's intense enough, there's enough action that I'm willing to overlook some of the weaker elements. The first half of the episode has a lot more of the stalling type of stuff that I've been talking about in the show leading up to these last few episodes, but you can really tell that they're trying to ramp up everything for the finale, because there are only 2 more episodes after this, and then the show is donezo, gone, bye, see you later. That's the end. So that's all we have left. And then like that's the thing, is like right off the bat we're starting off with a relatively pointless flashback scene. That's the thing with the flashback scenes, and basically this whole show, first season included. The flashbacks really don't contribute much to the story. This flashback here shows the lieutenant colonel here and the leader of the perimeter artist community. It shows their deal that we already knew about, that basically they gave her medical supplies for her kidney dialysis and stuff, and apparently it was a big secret. I don't know why, like the CRM, she didn't report it to the CRM, and the CRM didn't know that she had this deal on the side, and that seems like something she wouldn't really do. And also, like, she should have the sway to be able to do that, make that deal, and she could argue that it's for the interest of the Republic, because we need this leader who's on our side that we can trust to be in power, so we want her to be alive. I feel like she didn't need to keep it a secret, the lieutenant colonel, that is. But she did anyways, and that's just the storyline here. But this flashback scene, it just gives us information we already had. So I don't really see it as contributing to the episode. And it is cool we get some background info on this this globe thing that we've seen in previous episodes, and it turns out it was actually her that was in charge of welding it. So that was a nice touch, but again, other than seeing this the lieutenant colonel again, this flashback doesn't really add much of anything to the story. It just gives us information we already had, and didn't add anything new to it. So that was, a disappointment to me. And then we come back here, and we had this flashback where Will and her son were trying to break into the CRM research facility, and we had that standoff, and then the son gets shot out of nowhere. And and then Will comes, he just comes right back to this community. So the guy died for nothing. I don't really see what the point of that whole storyline was, but I think what they're going for is they want to give this community a real reason to finally rebel against the CRM once and for all, and they decided to use that. Now the thing is that, as far as I would imagine, this agreement, they had this non-aggression agreement with the CRM. And I'm sure that it's not unconditional. I'm sure that some of the conditions were that the citizens of the perimeter were not to breach CRM territory without permission. So I'm sure that was part of the agreement. It wouldn't really be realistic without that. So, acting like they broke their agreement, I'm not so sure that that's correct. So, they were trying to break into the facility. So, I don't know. They're trying to get this emotional thing, and we weren't really attached to that character, though. So, all this emotional stuff doesn't really play for me, and, I don't really know what the point of that storyline was. So, I don't know. I'm not really that into it, honestly. And then this scene is great with the scientists. Leo's trying to get the rest of the science team on his side, and he reveals to them what they know about the Panama cover-up. Or Portland cover-up. No, it wasn't Portland. It was Panama. Okay. But yeah, so that's a good scene there. Got some good dialogue. And now here, this is yet another cliffhanger that turned out to not really be much. Last episode's cliffhanger was Silas gripping his weapon tightly when Huck comes in, and he's going to confront her or something. And then we cut to this, and nothing happens with it. So that's two cliffhangers in a row that in this episode kind of turn out to be not much. So that was a bit of a disappointment. I wanted to see the confrontation here. She does have a brief discussion with him before she gets in the truck, but he's just like, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. You blame me for murder, you frame me. Okay. I don't know. He does have a discussion with her husband later that is more substantive and more interesting, and I would have liked to see that with higher tension. I feel like we should have just picked up where we left off last week, but, it is what it is. So that's how I feel about that. We get this scene here. Now, here's something interesting. I thought we might do a film school with your boy Shuggy. So, there's this thing in film called the 180-degree rule. And it's not a hard, fast rule, but it is a general principle that should be applied in most dialogue scenes, and most scenes in general. So, the basic idea here is that we have two characters speaking with each other. We have Hope and Iris here. And now, between them, imagine a line connecting them. Their eye lines. So they're looking at each other here. Now, this line, this imaginary line, is not to be crossed by the camera without reason. That is because as viewers, we like to, basically each character stays on the same side, and it's not confusing when we just flip sides and all of a sudden, because if we flip sides, all of a sudden now Hope was on the right, now she's on the left, and it just feels like discombobulating. It makes us lose our place in the scene. So I just wanted to show an example of the fact that they broke 180 here. And I do feel it's a little sloppy. As you can see, there's this eye line between them, and the camera's not crossing it. We cut back and forth. It's staying in the same side. So Hope is on the right, Iris is on the left, and we are able to keep track of where they are in the scene relative to their surroundings. It's a very important thing. And then we break it just all of a sudden, and it is a little bit it's a little distracting. It's not something that if you're not a film school person, if you're not somebody who pays attention to cinematography, it's not something you'll be conscious of, but it is something that your subconscious will pick up on, and it's something that might throw you off without you really realizing what's happening. So I just thought that was a good example of that, and I wanted to show that to you guys. I think we might do a standalone video on that subject at some point. We might start doing film school videos. Let me know if you guys are interested in that, but I think it might be fun to break down various rules. Like I said, it's not a hard and fast rule. There are plenty of times where there is a reason to break that, but usually if you want to transition to the other side, you don't just cut like that. You have either a camera movement or something in the scene that leads into that. You have to have some kind of reason. So, in this scene they didn't. So it's a very small criticism I have. It's really not that significant, but it's something I wanted to point out because I thought it might make for interesting content. So that's how I feel about that. And then now it just feels like stalling here. We're just talking about doing stuff again. And I get you have to do that to a certain extent, but it's just not as interesting as last week. And we have Leo. Leo in this scene is because his girlfriend was killed by Huck last episode, he's basically saying, my only regret is that it wasn't me that did it. It's bro, come on, no, you don't wish that you did that. And she says that, so I did like that. It makes Leo look like a bit of a psycho. I'm not gonna lie. So I don't know. He goes from I was in love with her 2 days ago, and now I want to murder her. He's a little crazy. You know what I mean? This is the scene I was referring to when I was talking about the substantive conversation we have. Silas and this guy whose name I'm still forgetting, and I forgot to remember it. Yeah, here's another part where we break 180, but there's a reason for it, because there's something on their opposite side that we're paying attention to. But yeah, so they're talking about the morality of the CRM, and this guy's saying that, yeah, she murdered she murdered people and framed you for it, but she did it because she thought she was doing it in service of the greater good, and talking about that. And he's saying you shouldn't blame her for that because we were kind of brainwashed to a certain degree. And it's a good conversation. I do like this moral play here. It does make a lot of sense in the context of the world that they're in. So I do appreciate that. Now we get some zombie. This is just another stalling tactic. I mean, the zombie horde comes in. I do feel like it's gonna have some kind of significance in the next few episodes here. The fact that there's a zombie horde in the vicinity. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's always good to see zombies in this show, because you can almost forget that it's a zombie show at certain points. But yeah, so that's all well and good. And then any scene with Huck and Jadis, now, the first episode, not so much that Jadis was in, but now it's really playing off, and we get this tension because she's playing both sides, and it's really working for me. So I do like these scenes here, and now they're talking about how the Bennetts need to pay, and Jadis is here to eliminate all of the rebellion. So I do like that. And then we're back in the community, and we're dealing with this death, and again, it's like, I don't know, it's hard for me to really care as a viewer. I didn't really know that character at all. But now you see why they're doing it, because now they're going to use that to start a rebellion, basically. And of course, she just reveals her secret here, that she's been, you know, getting medical supplies on the side. Again, I still don't understand why that was a secret. I feel like her own people would have been perfectly fine with her taking medical supplies from the CRM. You know, I don't think there would have been an issue. I really don't. I don't see why somebody would have a problem with that, because they already had this deal with the CRM. They're already doing work for them in exchange for supplies. It just seems like an addendum to that deal. So I don't really get why it's a secret on both sides. I don't get why the Colonel had to keep it a secret. I don't get why she had to keep it a secret. So they don't really justify that in any meaningful way. So that's, to me, just feels like they needed it to be secret for the plot line. And that's my criticism of that. But, you know, she should know that this guy who's been against her all season is of course, he's going to the CRM. And he does in this episode. And I'm surprised she didn't see it coming. I'm surprised she didn't do something to mitigate that threat. Should have seen it coming. You know, and then we get this scene. The acting, I was impressed with her acting. But the writing, not so much. So yeah. I mean, these young performers do really good. So, you know, most of I haven't really had need to criticize the acting all that much in the show. So it's mostly the writing that I criticize here. Yeah, and then we get this scene where they get told by Huck that they're coming for you. Oh Lord, they coming. And then Hope runs off to get Mason. And this is really cool. One thing I liked in this episode is that they had an actual plan that they were going to execute to escape. And it makes sense. You know, they knew that the CRM was going to put the facility on lockdown, and they used their procedures against them. So that was really good. I like that. Yeah, it pays off very well at the end. So, you know, and Hope shows up just in the nick of time. And they're using Mason as a hostage here, and that's one thing I don't really understand why Hope didn't explain the situation. I feel like, you know, he's freaking out, of course, but it really should have been explained to him what evidence they have. I feel like this is a normal kid. They could have definitely got him on their side. That should have been their goal instead of just using him as a hostage. Using him as a hostage makes perfect sense. But I feel like Hope really could have explained it to him, and there's a scene where she's talking to him later, and she doesn't explain why. She didn't explain the fact that they wiped out a whole community and used zombies to cover it up, and we have evidence of that. They really could have gotten him on their side. I don't know why. I don't know what the advantage is of not telling him the truth at this point. And then we got them using sledgehammers to break into what turns out to be the sewer line. Again, it's just, they have a plan here. It's really good. And this is the scene I'm talking about. I don't know why she doesn't just tell him what's going on. It feels like very unnecessary. I don't know. And then we get more scenes here. Again, I'm really liking Jadis killing it in this show, man. Really like Jadis. I wasn't sure about it at first, but now it's all making sense. I really like Jadis in the show, and I'm excited to see her in the movies, so that'll be cool. And then we got them packing up, and then he's talking about this dream, and then, oh, dude, this stuff is just like, let's keep it moving. I'm over this. It's like, I have this dream of starting a family, and that's selfish. I don't think that's selfish. I really don't. And then he's like, but it's not wrong. So it wasn't wrong for you to try to help your family. I don't know. It's really hokey. I didn't like it. But then we get the CRM rolling up in here, dude, and they got the stormtroopers, they got the guns, they got the trucks, they got everything, and they're gonna wipe out this community. This is where the episode kicks into high gear. This is the action stuff I was talking about. This is when the episode really excels. So I like that. And then we got the turncoat here that basically turned over his community. Everybody leaves the room, and then Huck is like, confronting him about that. She's saying, you signed up your whole community to get murdered. Did you realize that? And he's like, yes, I did. I'm trying to save my own skin. And Huck does something really drastic here, because he's like, I'll reveal your secret if you can't guarantee that I get in the community. And Huck, of course, is saying I can't do that because she doesn't make any decisions in the community. So I don't even know why he's asking that. And then we have all this tension here. And then Huck decides to just straight up kill him. She just straight up murders the guy. Which is a bit drastic, but I think we can all understand why. Yeah, she just straight up murders him. It's very brutal. Very brutal. And then Jadis comes in and is like, why did you do that? Blah, blah, blah. And then Huck is like, oh, he wouldn't have been loyal to us. He was going to he was threatening to tell everyone our secret. And then Jadis is like, how did he know about it? This scene, I'm just thinking, why didn't she just say that he tried to attack me and take my gun? Or something like that. Like, that seems more, like, realistic. I don't know. Maybe it's a better play, but just in the spur of the moment, I just feel like, oh, he tried to attack me would have been an easier play, But again, Jadis did is straight up murdering people, so maybe she's more okay with it. So, And Jadis, again, they're using every opportunity to have Jadis reference her past in The Walking Dead. And she's talking about how she was the leader of a community of artists and talking about welding and stuff. So I did like that. I mean, I do like seeing these references to the past, that we get, but nobody else does. So that is cool. And then, this tension, it's really ramping up. And this part I don't really get. They're stalling. They're about to shoot everybody, but they take their time with it, and I really don't understand why. And we have Elton looking up at this leaf. Whoa, the leaf. And then he's like, I don't get it. I don't really know what I'm supposed to feel from that. I get, playing up the tension and stuff, and then he grabs the girl that he likes. He grabs her hand and he's like, everything's gonna be okay. What? You literally should be like, we're about to die. I don't know, that was kind of funny to me. And then we get a shootout, and the shootout's relatively good. And, I like the action here. It's good. We got people dying, we got people shooting at other people, and it's working out good. I like this scene. It's some good action. And then it ends with like a grenade going off, and I don't know, is that supposed to be 2 grenades? I don't know. But then we got this grenade going off, and it's a nitpicky thing, but grenades, they're fragmentation weapons. They're not like incendiary weapons. So don't exactly work like that, but I get we want the fiery explosion for the drama of the scene and stuff. I get that. But I don't know, maybe they blew up some fuel or something that exploded like that. That would make sense if they set that up. But yeah, I don't know. They just wanted the fiery explosion. And here's where we find out that their plan all along was to use the lockdown protocols against them. They went to this specific room because they knew it would shut down, and they knew that the lockdown, they'd have a certain amount of time. I guess they can't lift the lockdown. I was thinking, like, why doesn't the CRM, why don't they just lift the lockdown and then get in there? But maybe they can't. Maybe they can't. So they use this lockdown as an opportunity to get into the mines, and they set C4 by the door so that when the guys come in, it explodes and they take it down, some of the guys with them. So I like that twist ending. I like that they had a plan that made sense, and there's a payoff. I like that. So that's all good. And then we get a little bit of a cliffhanger that's like, yeah, we're wiping out all. Jadis is saying we're gonna have soldiers waiting at every endpoint of the mine, every exit, and we have to make an example of them, and we have to end the rebellion, and it's a good cliffhanger, and it leads nicely into the final 2 episodes. So overall, yeah, this ending was good enough that I'm willing to forgive a lot of the things I was criticizing earlier. So that's where I'm at with it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Would love to hear from you. Yeah, overall, I'm liking how the show is ending. This episode, not as good as last week. Last week was very strong. I had little criticism of it. But yeah, this week, a little bit more of a mixed bag, but I really enjoyed it overall, and I'm excited to see how it ends. So, yeah. Go figure, I never would have guessed that would have happened. But yeah, that's where I'm at with it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, as I said already. And if you like this video, hit that like button and sub for more videos. We're going to be doing more Walking Dead reviews as this show wraps up, and we're doing Fear reviews, and we'll be doing the main show next year. So be sure to stay locked on Shook Earth Media for that. And with that, I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.